All right, peace, peace. This is the Kill Bay, a, a random study session that I decided to host pretty late at night. But thank you to everybody hopped in. Uh, but let's just get straight to the point. Um, as three wazirs of the Moroccan states held an open forum, I myself being one of them, we spoke on the concept of trust law or municipal trust law and how it's a contradistinction to international law. And so why is it a contradistinction? This is what we're about to get into because it's an actual colonial tactic that's used against our people. And I want to take this one step at a time. So as shown on the screen, you see I typed in municipal law as a contradistinction to international law. It goes to say, according to openjuris.org, such courts usually have criminal jurisdiction corresponding to that of a police court, and in some cases possesses civil jurisdiction in small causes. Municipal law, in contradistinction to international law, is the law of an individual state or nation. So municipal law, which is in contradistinction to international law, is the law of an individual state, one individual state, not the United States of America itself, but it can be different for each state. Okay, so it's not on one accord, right? So, but we about to get more into this because I know some people don't agree with this, but ChatGPT. Now, we know that now municipal law is a contradistinction to international law, right? So I typed in on ChatGPT, give examples of how a colonial state may trick people into utilizing municipal trust law opposed to international law. So when we talking about this trust law concept, we talking about, hey man, put artists of organization up, do fast. You get your trust started, you put everything in a trust so they can't mess with you. All in the United States courts, so you can use your nationality ID, your plates, Moorish-American plates when you had them right. Remember those days? Uh, all that, you know. Um, it so we talking about the concept of municipal trust law. So it says it's important to note that promoting deceptive practices or encouraging unethical behavior is not something I endorse. Now this is ChatGPT talk. However, I can provide a quote unquote hypothetical example to illustrate how a colonial state might manipulate circumstances to encourage the use of municipal trust law over international law. Keep in mind that such actions would likely be unethical, and the promotion of transparency and adherence to international law is crucial for fostering global cooperation. Now, quote unquote, hypothetical scenario, right? So that was ChatGPT just kind of went through a, now I'm gonna, try to cover it up a little bit, but let's just see how real it can get. It says, imagine a colonial state seeking to exploit resources within its territory that are subject to international regulations. The state might employ the following deceptive tactics. One is ambiguous legal framework. The colonial state could intentionally create a legal framework that is vague or ambiguous regarding the application of international law. to the exploitation of certain resources. This ambiguity may lead to local businesses and individuals to default to municipal trust law, thinking it provides a more safer and more familiar legal ground. So let's just, this is a basic point. This is not what I really want to get to. This is just a basic point. But how often have we all heard the term decolonization when we mention trust law? I have never heard that in all of the days when I consider myself a quote unquote Moorish-American until I entered into statehood. So when we talk about municipal trust law, there is no way that decolonization is going to be a thing coming from a how-to-do list or any type of U.S. code explaining how to decolonize. That's first and foremost. While a lot of people think it's trying to get more money than them or trying to get this army over them right quick. No, none of that. So we see that it's created a safe ground for a lot of people, right? A lot of people benefit from this, right? A lot of people did do business as an organization and beat cases, right? A lot of people don't. A lot of people lose cases. A lot of people discharge things. A lot of people don't. A lot of people end up getting, shooting themselves in the foot. Some people, yeah, some people do get little pieces of land. Some people don't. Thing is that let's just continue on why I'm aiming towards that angle. So we'll get back to that point. So misinformation campaign. The colonial government might engage in misinformation campaigns to convince the local population that international law is overly restrictive or detrimental to their interests. Now, real quick, let me just finish that. By disseminating false information about the benefits of municipal trust law, the government could influence public opinion and push for its adoption. So for one, we talk about misinformation campaigns. So who we talking about for Moorish-Americans who sometimes claim we don't need a state, who sometimes claim that, a lot of things. But for one reason, the one primary reason, one of the primary reasons, one of the main reasons, is that why we speak on the Moorish-American so much, that term Moorish-American, because not only is it a representation of anybody who considers themselves any dash American or Black American or African American or whatever, but more, once you throw that term more in there, it's more closer to home. So this is the closest to the truth. The Moorish-American concept is the closest to the truth. But it also represents the same truth for everybody else who doesn't consider themselves a quote unquote Moorish-American. For the record, I am not a Moorish-American. I am a Moroccan. I know I kind of said that a lot. I said Moorish-American so much, probably somebody probably think I'm a Moorish-American, but that's definitely not the case. So um, it goes to say the misinformation campaign it's just funny to me. It's just funny to me. This is my opinion. That a lot of people receive packages, instructions from Moorish-American teachers about how to do many different things. Sometimes which even leads them to legal troubles real fast. Into the so much so that they might lose their job, their home, etc. Now it's just it's very strange to me that these same procedures and packages that have a high percentage of uh, a negative outcome, extremely negative outcomes, that these same people um, are for years living by life unscathingly. Like, they might have something here and there, but I'm talking about unscathingly. Also considering the fact that the people who might not have it so good, right? People who may have been detained and whatnot, and end up beating cases and whatnot. We got to understand that this too is a tactic, a colonial tactic to do what? To entice people. Hey, this Moorish-American stuff works in some shape, way, or form. A lot of people, in my opinion, was facing a lot of jail time that I don't believe it was the Moorish-American way that worked, but you talking about working corporation with corporation, you want to talk about like that, well, that's a different story. What is the United States? A corporation, people doing business as a corporation, they're doing corporation versus corporation. That's what Noble Ali did. Established the corporation within the corporation. So also considering the fact, well, I'm not going to get into Noble Ali topic right now. That I was about to take somewhere else. So by disseminating false information, right, about the benefits of municipal trust law, the government could influence public opinion and push for its adoption, right? So 3 is economic incentives. The colonial state may offer economic incentives such as tax breaks or subsidies for businesses and individuals to choose to operate under municipal trust law rather than international law. This financial motivation could sway actors to opt for the seemingly more advantage or advantages local legal framework. So we talking about the financial motivation could sway actors. It had another term. I was looking for it earlier to where they say they sometimes pay actors. They pay actors off to keep the municipal trust law going or encouraging to others. They pay people off to make it sound good. But but the colonial state, right, may offer economic incentives such as tax breaks. Now, when we talk about municipal trust law, people saying, I ain't got to pay taxes no more. I ain't, you know, hey, I think I found my way to freedom. You can't tell me, man, I ain't got to pay taxes, bro. Right? I hear that often still. Um, for businesses and individuals that choose to operate under municipal trust law. So doing business as an organization, right? Corporation is a form of the organization. People are doing business as an organization, right? Rather than international law. That's what the Moorish-Americans are doing. But who's influencing this? The United States. Again, you will never see United States putting something in the most basic terms, just as the United Nations did, they would do what? They would make it complex. We about to get into that point here in a second. But the Moorish-Americans are operating or doing business as, right, or under municipal trust law rather than international law. This is a tactic. It, it, it was a stepping stone, but it still wasn't the stone we need to step on. It it was a halfway point. Look, okay, Noble Drew Ali. I guess I should have brought. I'm bringing this point back up, right? Not sure who y'all can speak if y'all wanted to. Yeah, that's what happened. I'm not sure what I said about this point, but if at any time anybody wanted to speak, you can just say point of interest, and I'll yield the floor to you. I forgot what I said that made the Kazi want to write that. My apologies.
Oh, point of interest.
Yeah.
Yeah, you was saying that the colonial state offers economic incentives so that you don't operate in international law. And basically in that case, the United States paid off Mexico to not go to the ICJ because
Mhm.
basically Texas was doing something illegal by sentencing a Mexican national, a foreign national, and they're not supposed to do that. They should have allowed the Mexican national to petition his consular court or his court in Mexico. They just paid him off
Mhm.
so they don't follow international law. So they do this a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. All they doing is looking. They looking for the holes. I seen an interview of a official from a Haitian government saying that 80% of the Haitian government was infiltrated in a manner that he was found guilty, which something similar to uh, may have been embezzlement or something like that. But whatever the case was, it was 80% of the government, in his opinion, which shocked me, because that's just in my eyes, right? Because the United States can't do nothing but work from the inside out. That's all they ever do. They're not. They're literally the Wizard of Oz. You know what I mean? Um, the ego is self-manifested type of thing. Real, but so um, and that was all good points. But back right quick to the Noble Dry Lee concept is that you know being that he himself created a corporation to do business as, et cetera, right? Utilizing trust and all this type of stuff. We got to think about the okay, the term profit is a government position, right? If you're looking at Rudder and Sexton, it's termed as a government seat of office, in which the Rudder and Sexton explains how the old way of government used to be ran, as far as the Moorish government. So if that's a seat of office, and he has Abdul Aziz on his Holy Quran, Circle 7, and we are in our seats of office talking about how we used to flash our Holy Quran, Circle 7s, looking for other people to join the states. If he was the only one on it back then, unlike a couple of us are on it now. Of course, the third or fourth generation is gonna come because well, what you gonna do is you can do so much, such as do business as an organization while you're under threat, duress, and coercion, just like all of us, right? For the time being. So following Noble Drew Ali's footsteps is right and exact when we talking about Moroccan statehood. If we really just coming from Noble Drew Ali's steps, a lot of people like say that ain't his law, like all this type of stuff. For one, you got to consider also COINTELPRO. You can't use his life story as a true measurement because in order to really peep anything what I'm saying on the highest tier, which is statehood, you got to already understand statehood. This is truly a seal. This is the energy that that everybody's been talking about. This is international law is the spell in which that if just the word recognize will mess people up. You say the term recognize to somebody who doesn't know statehood, they're gonna think, oh, you just need permission. It's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Let's look at this term. How you use it in the general public is not the same as how international law uses. The public just strayed away from international law. They got on the municipal law, which means a whole different thing. It's a contradistinction. It means a whole different thing. People on that. So what the Moroccan states doing are nothing like what the Moorish-American. Everything is different. Everything. I wish I never went into that movement, but I understand why I did. um, so number 4 is the complex legal procedures. It says introducing complex and cumbersome procedures for complying with international law may discourage local entities from navigating the complexities. The colonial government could intentionally create bureaucratic hurdles, making municipal trust law appear more convenient and accessible. So let's chop that up and put it in subtitles, like Sue say. Introducing complex and cumbersome procedures for complying with international law may discourage local entities from navigating the complexities. So the complex and cumbersome procedures are what? Oh, I know this way. And let's make this clear. ChatGPT said these are quote unquote hypothetical situations, but this is why you can use ChatGPT as if you will, a cult tap in type of little brother application. But because these are real life situations we're explaining for them to be hypothetical. Um, but the complex legal procedures, we talking about one person might have one way. This person might have this way of doing the same thing. This person might have this way. I never met a Moorish-American with the same exact way, as far as especially all the way around. You might get the same exact way in one little area, but all the way around, nope. Why? Because complex and cumbersome legal procedures have been made. So, and keep in mind, municipal law, in contradistinction to international law, is the law of an individual state. So each state is different. Each state is different. So we talking about complex and legal procedures, and each state is different. People talking about they got this type of legal way. You need a USC 28, 3002, whatever, 15A, whatever it is. Nah, you ain't add this one. You didn't add this one. Oh, that's what Minnesota own? Oh, okay, but it's United States code. Okay. They use it, and it's not even applicable to their state. But they don't know that municipal law is different for each state. On top of the fact that it's contradictory to international law. So when they bring up international law treaties, they still think they on point. It's like, no, it's not. Each state is different. On top of the complex and cumbersome procedures that was introduced by the colonial state. Remember, these are colonial tactics, right? So the colonial government could intentionally create bureaucratic hurdles, making municipal trust law appear more convenient and accessible. Now, there are some people who I know that uh, can make um, things happen very fast in a positive manner by exercising municipal trust law in the United States system, right? They go back, get something stamped and approved, or if they already haven't already, and they consider that, them being respected by the colonized, in which that may well be the case for that person. On the other side of that coin is a tactic. So they only gonna give you what they want to show, and they don't want to show you the truth. So when we get down to the bait, remember, truth needs no defense. The truth needs no defense. So when we talk about the basic facts, such as the 13 colonies being the United States of America, so who are the colonizers, the Americans? That's one of the most basic facts that a lot of Moorish-Americans tend to struggle with when confronted about that, right? So I'm actually, well, I'm not going to bring it up. So it says making municipal trust law appear more convenient and accessible. Now, statehood is not something that happens overnight. It's not a right now thing. It's chess. Checkers is reactive. Checkers is the more convenient and accessible, right? That's something that, municipal trust law, all you got to do is go tomorrow to the courts and create a, articles of organization, turn money in, and, on that level is things are starting to look bright for you in the right direction. Some, all this type of stuff. But chess is you making a move, the right move right now to benefit the future. So this is not Moorish-American one-on-ones anymore, right? We're talking trees, right? The bureaucratic hurdles making municipal trust law appear more convenient. Now, again, let me before I conclude with that. Now, just because people beating cases, got their children back, uh, uh, got the land back, these are all good things. But this is a hamster wheel because it's not going to do what? It's not going to get the colonizers to do what? Go quote unquote back to Europe. What is that? Decolonization, the mature way to say it. So we I mean, just imagine this. I used this example the other day. Imagine this. Joe Schmo is making about $150,000 a year. off of helping people through municipal trust law, right? He considered himself a Moorish-American. He beating cases. He getting cars. He ain't got to pay for them because he know how to not pay for them. He getting discharged, everything, right? Joe Schmo popping. Now, if I go to Joe Schmo and I say, hey, I see you know a lot about administration, um, how you feel about Moroccan statehood? He say, he say, however you feel about it, however you may feel about it. And it leads me to say, okay, well, one of the things I'm interested, right, in having you part of the government, if you're willing to go through the application and whatnot, woody woody why. But one of the things um, that would have to not happen anymore is selling government information, package selling, and all this types of stuff. And wish that that's not what a government official does, right? Because it can actually lead to charges, right? So we talking about a person that may have to change his whole lifestyle, right? Because why? We're talking about a method that in international law is actually genocide, right? By telling the people, X, Y, Z. There's many ways that some people say the American anyway, Native, it's a whole bunch of terms that people under municipal trust law utilize. Now, we're not talking about people who just consider themselves Americans and don't use any of these terms, because even in that sense, it's just simple fact that American is the colonizer, and you would just need to understand that point. But um, the people who consider themselves Moorish-American, the people who don't consider themselves Moorish-American, but some type of Indian thing. This is basically who I'm talking about, because the Moorish Americans believe, again, this is the closest thing to the truth. They believe they have the way. I believed I had the way when I heard the Moorish American thing. But I don't have my feet stuck in the mud. So point five is selective enforcement. The colonial government might inconsistently enforce international regulations, especially when it benefits local entities operating under trust law. This, this selective enforcement could create perception that international regulations are not rigorously applied, fostering a preference for local legal mechanisms. So the colonial government has definitely inconsistently enforced international regulations. How do we know that? Well, it's a long list of things we're taking in court. Uh, and it should be quite obvious, a lot of it. But so uh, when we're talking about enforcing international regulations, well, the United States is a corporation doing business as, right? That's one of the United States of America's corporations. United States is a corporation, right? United States of America is the de jure government. So you're talking about, in that truth, in that standpoint, in that actuality, that they're going to enforce international regulations within its government. That's one reason why the Moorish-Americans are unfamiliar with international law, because why? Not only is it a corporation, but all they have, because they're a corporation, is municipal trust information. So on the flip side, they're in the United Nations P5, right? They're being seen as states. Why? Because they started off as a state. So the only Moors that can do something about this, though, is us. How do we know that? Because the France versus United States of America court case, in which France even tried to do something about it. Whole point of why they took it to court. And for those who haven't already, should read 10 years of secret diplomacy, because that gives a lot of background on the happening, the history of the Moors during the time of the active adversaries and the intents, the things that was going on behind closed doors during those times. It's a good book. Um, so says especially when it benefits local entities operating under municipal trust law, right? The selective enforcement could create a perception that international regulations are not rigorously applied. Again, you won't find nothing about this is how you create a state in the United States government, fostering a preference for local legal mechanisms. So it's just so contradistinct that trust law on one level, on a municipal level, right, um, cannot align with international law. Trust law on a municipal level cannot align with international law if you're talking about the United States way of doing things. So when they mention treaties, they say this is how you operate a trust based off of treaties, right? Especially if you're coming from the Moorish-American way. Now you didn't, man, it's like you're trying to crystallize your understanding. And that's the worst time to crystallize it. Like it got a lot of people. So um I don't want to make this video too long and drawn out. But because I don't I there are other points uh that are similar in which we just read. I'm not sure about this one. Selective promotion of local benefits. The colonial state could focus on promoting the supposed advantages of municipal trust law without adequately explaining the contradictions with international law. This might involve highlighting perceived benefits such as tax advantages, simplified regulatory processes, or purported protection of local interests. Right? Nationalistic rhetoric. Rhetoric. I don't remember this one. Let me read this one right quick. The government could employ nationalistic rhetoric to emphasize the importance of local autonomy and control over resources by framing the use of municipal trust law as a symbol of national pride and sovereignty. They might encourage individuals and businesses to choose this legal framework without fully understanding its implications on international obligations. Yeah, that's pretty much what I just said. Right? They might encourage individuals and businesses to choose this legal framework without fully understanding the implications on international obligations. So talking about this is how you utilize trust. And we got the Treaty of Peace and Friendship. And yeah, I heard about the Act of Algeciras, but we Moorish-Americans, I'm telling you, bro, and I got this trust set up. It's connected to the Sacred Trust, Noble Dry League, all that. It's like, nah, why? Not fully understanding the implications on international obligations because there's a contradistinction. So um, I'm not gonna beat a dead horse anymore. So we can open the floor for any general conversation, questions, comments about anything at all. I don't want to beat the dead horse with this, but I tried to put it as simple as I could, as far as because I found that this is a good cornerstone. There's a lot of Moors who never even entertain the trust situation. It's Moors that never entertain that lifestyle, right? But still, it brings to the light that that's an actual tactic. It's almost like people got so comfortable being in their system because of things like this that they don't even want to decolonize, even when presented with the basic facts of how to decolonize. So again, it got its hamster wheels within the hamster wheel, messing with the United States and its municipal ways. So I'll yield to anybody who want to bring up anything at all. If anything, I yield for a few moments. Okay. So we can conclude this video as I myself am going to tend to some other things I could be doing. Um, but I appreciate everybody. This will be posted on the state channel, and the takeaway from this whole thing is that everything that we went over as far as municipal trust laws and anything that anybody could be doing in that manner in the United States is an actual tactic, right? So the black organizations, the liberation groups, they call themselves wanting reparations, all those people with the organizations and non-profit all this getting money. That that's the comfortable way, but it's the wrong way. Right? It was the way that at one time it was considered the right way because why you think Noah Ali said it's gonna be the third or fourth generation gonna get it. On top of the fact that half has been told. So obviously the third or fourth gonna get the other half, or at least some of the other half. But the point is that you can't lean on what everything Noble Drew did, especially when the main way to weigh that out is by he say, she say. Dependency upon oral statements that even I myself heard that were tainted. But the only way to see that out, being that you're measuring out by intuition anyway, is using the highest frequency of intuition, which is in the physical considered international law, which is the highest system of law, which is the unwavering thing, which is your talk. We talking about Allah anyway, right? So the only way you can understand a lot of stuff that's basic, what could seem as basic, right, to a lot of people, but the only way you can truly understand this stuff in a clear and pure form is by way of, for one, again, it's frequencies to this. And I know I'm kind of dragging this on, but the people within a government, of the Moroccan government, will know more than the people outside of the Moroccan government, even if they rock with the Moroccan government concept, right? Because not everybody's meant to be an official. But that has everything to do with, you know, the frequency. Why? Because that's a separation. The people in the actual government can actually steer the energy to come, while the people outside who support can also help steer, right? But we're talking about a different depth, a different dominion, all that type of stuff, lanes, ranks, if you will. So statehood in those, some of y'all seen my video on the metaphysical concept of international law, because we really like, we really just, it's really just time to keep it simple, because we spent a lot of times being creative and didn't keep it simple enough. You know, uh, that's why I myself deleted uh, many videos pertaining to spirituality. I deleted 77 videos pertaining to spirituality on my personal channel, due to me having to go through that little the eye of the needle. You know, and the only way to get through that is to really transform myself. You know, I had to transform myself into the mindset that of a government official, knowing that a platform on a high stage is coming soon. I don't have time to be answering questions pertaining to my personal beliefs that I put on display that had nothing to do with what I've come here to do right now. So, it's I just rather not, me personally. Um, so uh even though, that spirituality does, it has its concept, but it definitely hits different when you can see things within international law, in the international arena, uh, in the most strict sense. Because when we talk about international law, we working with the strict sense right now. And once we narrow down that understanding, my moon is in Capricorn. So when I came through my Saturn return, it was like whoa, because you know um, I get straight to the point with it. This is my time type of thing. You know, so we it's important to we gonna stick to the strict sense, which is international law, right? Um, so because it's a lot to be seen in that, a lot. And again, read 10 Years of Secret Diplomacy, because that book will share a lot of information about um that book is a good way to mature someone's mindset on the actuality of international law, with, as long as they have the statehood frequency, if you will. some Moorish-Americans will read that book and be like, and yeah, this treaty they signed, you ain't got nothing to do with me. They did over there like that. But oh, you see this term right here, Moor. And they go to the page like just to point out the term Moors in there or something. They had no understanding on nothing else. How do I know that? I used to do that. So you know, um, so read that book, good book. But we can uh yeah, it's a very good book. I know what you meant. But so we can conclude this meeting here, or a study session, open forum, whatever you want to call it. I thank everybody for attending. Peace and love. I'll see y'all next time.
Peace and love.
Peace, y'all.
Peace and love, everybody.